friends, this is Daniel Alley, and today I want to talk with you about 7 things that will ruin your marriage. If you practice these 7 things, it will instantly kill every single vibe you've ever had with your husband or your wife. So please listen up because I'm about to dive deep into the facts. So here I come. Alright, the first thing that will kill your marriage is fault finding. Look, every single person in this world that is married has a tendency to look at their spouse and tell them exactly what they're doing wrong. And the reason why we have this tendency to tell our spouse this is because we want them to improve. However, if we do it in a wrong way, we won't get any results. The truth is that you have to be able to tell your spouse what to improve on without finding fault with them. In other words, you have to find out what the problem is and resolve the issue in a way that helps them feel better about making a change. The second thing that will kill your marriage is unresolved conflicts. This is one of the biggest reasons why most people divorce. They haven't been able to sit down and talk with their spouse about the inner conflicts that they have. Now, when you're married, there's so many conflicts that might arise. Maybe you might have sexual conflict. Perhaps it's financial conflict. It might even be conflict with the family, conflict with fitness, conflict with eating. There's so many things to be improved upon. And if you don't talk to your spouse about the conflicts that you have, then they will never get resolved. In a lot of marriages, people deal with conflict in negative ways. They slam doors, they make threats, they do things to their spouse that makes them feel horrible. My friends, what I want you to do is to make a list of the top 5 conflicts that you have right now. If you have a spouse that you know you love and you want to work things out, make a list and go and talk with your spouse. Another thing you might want to consider doing is to write them an email. Maybe you want to send them an email that is detailing some of the problems that you have so you can explain it in a way that you believe they can understand. If you write this email, I guarantee you, your spouse will look at you differently. Instead of you avoiding the problem, you will be addressing it. You see, most people go about their lives without resolving their problems. They just go about their life, they never ask questions, and they just go to their corners. That's how most people carry on with their marriage. But that's not a happy marriage at all. You should never be separated, holding grudges for hours and hours, wondering what the other person thinks, or even not caring about what the other person thinks until you feel guilty about it. No, my friends, you need to walk up to them and have a direct conversation. You see, so many people limit themselves because they don't feel like their spouse will understand them. My friend, it's not that your spouse won't understand you, it's that you haven't taken the time to think about the problem and communicate it with them effectively so that you can resolve it. The third thing that is killing your marriage right now are threats. There's a lot of people who run their relationships based on threats. They might threat a withdrawal of blessings. They might threat removal of sex. They might even threat the worst thing of all time, divorce. There's a lot of people who think that they can threaten their way to success in marriage. But my friends, it won't work in the long term. Even though your spouse might be able to make some temporary changes, they're always going to feel scared. They're always going to live in fear. They're always going to feel unprepared. So don't threaten your way into love. Don't threaten your way into marriage. Don't threaten your spouse by making them feel that they don't have what it takes in order to accomplish the goals that you guys set within your relationship. If there's any threat you've ever made to your spouse, I want you to go up to them and apologize. There's one thing that my wife and I always do. When I talk to Shivani, I always tell her, Shivani, I'm so sorry for anything I've ever done, anything I've ever said, anything that I ever felt when I was mad. I just want to ask for forgiveness. She never really knows what to say, but she's always happy that I'm willing to rectify any problem that we've ever had in the past. And that's what I love about her. My friends, I want you to make it right with your spouse. Apologize early and often, and never hold grudges, never make threats, and never make the person that you live with feel less than they are. The fourth thing that will always kill your marriage is blaming. Look, there's so many people that run their relationship just based on blaming their spouse. They'll say things like, if you didn't do X, Y, and Z, we never would have been in this situation. For example, if we didn't move to this place because of your job, we never would have been in this financial predicament. And there's a lot of people that use that kind of narrative to lead their relationship. My friends, if you're that kind of person that feels that you need to blame your spouse because of the problems that you have in your life, then you need to make an instant change right now. What I want you to do is to stop complaining and start explaining. Instead of focusing on all the things they did wrong, start focusing on all the things they did strong. When you focus on the positive, then the negative starts to disappear. You see, nagging and complaining and worrying about things you cannot change can part the best of friends. And your spouse is divinely connected with you. You're meant to be with them for as long as you live. And if you keep on burdening them with things that they cannot change, then they're going to be very angry with your exchange. They're going to make it known that the nagging, the blaming, the complaining, the threats, all the things that you've been sharing with them, the antics, is no longer going to work. And they're going to be tired of your act, and they're going to ask for a change in a way you won't like it. So be proactive to the changes that you need to make and save your marriage for heaven's sake. The fifth thing that kills your marriage is the unwillingness to compromise. There's so many times where people get old in their relationship that they forget to negotiate with their partners. Now, there's a lot of things that need to be negotiated upon. And there's some things that your spouse needs that you might not ever understand. But the key is to dedicate your whole entire life to making sure that they are successful. And if you have to do something to help them to become successful, even at your own expense, then I guarantee you that the effort will be well worth it, my friends. You know, the funny thing is that at the inception of your marriage, everyone's all happy. Everyone's willing to compromise. Everyone was willing to move over, you can have a seat, I'll pay the bill, all these things, right? But then as time goes on, we can often find ourselves more restricted, more unwilling to change. I want you to take a step back and think about how it was in your former days so that you can make sure that your success comes in your later days. If you're always willing to do what it takes within your marriage, then I promise you it will be so far from being average. Every single day, I tell my wife to be young because I know there's so many times where people have the tendency to get old. They get the tendency to wear down, to give up, and to quit. Don't ever allow this to happen in your life. So my advice to you is to be young forever. And if your spouse is asking you to compromise, to take a risk, to do something different, be young and honor their request. The sixth thing that will kill your marriage is abuse. No form of abuse should ever be tolerated. Whether it's verbal, physical, mental, spiritual, sexual, whatever it is, it should never exist within your relationship. If you feel like you're struggling in this area and you can ask your spouse for help, make sure to do it right away. If you know that you've been abusing your spouse so much that they can't help you or they're not able to help you, then make sure to get professional help. There's so much to say about this subject that I can't say it all in this video. But what I will tell you is that I have a book coming out soon, and when it's time to read it, I guarantee you're gonna love it. The seventh and final thing that kills your marriage is rejection. There's a lot of people who hurt their spouse unknowingly because they reject them all the time. You know, I've seen a lot of people who've put up a wall against their husband, against their wife, and they always say no about certain things. If you ask them to take a walk, they say no. If you ask them to go out for an adventure, they say no. If you ask them for money, they say no. Or maybe you even ask them for a specific sexual act that you always wanted, that you always fantasize about, and they always say no. They don't even know why. Sometimes they've been saying no so long that they don't even know why they're saying no in the first place. So what I want you to know is that if your spouse have been asking you for something that they want you to do, but you've always been saying no to them, try understanding what it is that they're even asking for. Don't just give them a hard no and reject them. Instead, give them a hard yes and accept them. Decide to do something different within your relationship. I guarantee you that there's one thing that your spouse has been asking you to do for so long that you've been saying no to, that now if you say yes, it will change everything. I want you to go ahead and try this out with your spouse. Think about that one thing you've always said no to. And then go up to them and ask them, you know what, that one thing you've been asking me about, I want to do it this time. Their face is going to light up. They're going to change. They're never going to be the same. Especially if you know that what they want is something that you can do. Now that will be a delightful experience. My friends, this is Daniel Alley. I just shared with you 7 things that are killing your marriage. If any of these are affecting you, make sure to address them with your spouse right away. If you enjoyed this video, type yes in the comment section below and share this with your spouse. My friends, always do big things. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and please hit that notification button. If you have any questions, please write me an email at info@danielalley.com. Sometimes I do marriage counseling, and if you're very serious about it, I look forward to your email. Again, this is Daniel Alley. Let's make some big changes together, and let's celebrate our spouse and treat them the way they deserve to be treated. I look forward to your marital success, and I look forward to watch you become the best version of yourselves. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.